There we go.
Whoa! Hey!
Hey, how y'all doing?
What's up, man?
Going on?
Everything is good. I can't complain.
You look like you sitting down in some beautiful South Florida weather there.
Yeah, man. I can't. That house is killing me.
Hey,
That house is fucking killing me. I mean, my allergy. I got bad allergies already.
Well, you couldn't be here in Atlanta with this pollen in. That should have fucked you up.
Oh no. Atlanta and Dallas this time of year, no doubt about it. I can't. No.
Well, before we get in, man. First of all, how's your family doing, brother?
Family is great. Everybody good. Everybody
Good.
healthy.
Good.
Everybody quarantining up and everything and all that.
Hey, that's all we can do right now. We were supposed to have this we got people logging on from all over the world, and we were supposed to have this at the Gathering Spot. And I just want to say they're hosting this event tonight for all those that are watching, listening. When I tell you, Luke, this is the America's premier private club, and it's black-owned, brother, right here in Atlanta.
Oh, really?
Brothers. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we were supposed to have this with a studio audience and all that, but
well, it's not a studio audience, but we have an audience.
Yeah, we have a great audience, and because of COVID, we are not at the incredible Gathering Spot right now. But I want to just say before we get started, thank you to the Gathering Spot. Everybody's out there. If you're in Atlanta, if you're in DC or in LA, make sure you go get a membership to this private club. It's also black owned. So, but anyway, man, let's jump right into this, man. For those watching, I guess I done already done the intro, but I just want to say that I'm very excited and happy to have. I'm gonna try to do you justice. Political activist, label owner, former strip club owner. You author. I don't know if I'm missing. Like I said, I want to do you justice, my brother. DJ, artist. Everybody that's watching, give a silent clap of hand to our brother, Luther Campbell, aka Uncle Luke. Once again, thank you, Lucas. Thank you, man. We appreciate you coming. This is I am Big Jerry Clark and my co-host, Miss Jamie Page. This is the Storytime with Legendary Jerry podcast, and we like to have, and I think I mentioned this to you earlier, Luke, we like to have legends on this show, and we like to give people their roses while they're still here. So I want to start off by asking this question.
Well, wait, Jerry, before you jump in it, I always have to start off, and I have to ask how.
We never worked with each other.
Yeah. Oh, you never worked with each other, but you do have a little history. Through.
No, well, I want to say history.
We'll get to all that.
We go jump into all that in a minute. But to get started, Luke, I wanted to ask you this. You've been one of the most progressive voices for sexual freedom. Why don't you think you're celebrated as much as like the Larry Flints and the Hugh Hefners? Why you don't think you get the same props that they get?
Well, I mean, it's just like anything else. If you're a great white quarterback and you're a great black quarterback, you're gonna get more of the props because you're white. And it's no difference. I mean, in this business, we're in the entertainment business, and unfortunately, they pick a chosen few that they want to give props to, and me being one that they don't necessarily try and do that too often. They always refer to me as the Black Hugh Hefner, and me and Larry Flint, we kind of went through some of the same things, not necessarily Hefner, as far as being censored and fighting for free speech. But at the same time, white folks kind of give me a little more props than black folks, put it that way.
Why do you think that is?
In this entertainment industry, it's a lot of brothers got to sell out. A lot of brothers got to sell out, and be owned by the white man. And I ain't necessarily one to sell out and be owned by the white man to be able to get my just due, to be able to get the big deals, be able to run major record companies, publications or whatever it may be, and I ain't never been one to just sell my soul like that. I was raised up a lot different, so being an outsider and not in the in crowd. When you look at during my times, when you look at the Russell Simmons and Andre Harrells and all those type of guys like that during my time, and even right now, you basically got to be a sellout in order to get credit, because they build up sellouts more so than anything. They build out sellouts to be able to make money off them.
Interesting. What with you, speaking of that non-selling out, you paved the way for a lot of the Black independent, the whole layout, especially coming from the South. There's like you, Jay Prince, Tony Draper, and any other of the Black lady. Did y'all ever get together and say, you know what, we're gonna create a whole distribution outlet, so we can control our own stuff?
Well, at one point, we did have those kind of conversations. Are you saying something?
Mm-mm.
She was saying something. Oh, okay. At one point, we were having those conversations years ago, because a lot of guys didn't really understand what I was doing and how I was doing it, because they were so hell-bent on being on a major label, and I had my own label, so they were asking a lot of questions, whether it was Kool Moe Dee, Fresh Prince, you name it, Lil Jane, you name it. Those guys were asking questions, how I was doing and what I was doing. And we had, at one point, with Ice Cube and a whole bunch of other guys, we talked about, forming some sort of union with all the hip hop artists to be able to share information, so that the other artists after us will be able to say, okay, all right, we have this information. We can't get screwed around by record companies if we decide to want to do a deal, or if we want to do it on our own. So, we talked about that, but we really never, I guess a lot of those boys got wind of it, and then basically, put that to dead.
When you say those boys, you mean them one folks?
Yeah. The guys from the, when you look at the industry, anytime you try to make an adjustment, it's almost like a football game. You make an adjustment, they make an adjustment. I started out independent, always been independent, manufacturing, pressing, distributing, marketing, promoting, producing all of my music. And then, these guys, I'm giving these guys information on how much money I'm making and the margins that I'm making, and versus the money that they're making. Then these guys then get inspired and want to own their own record labels. So when they want to own their own record labels, they go to those major companies. The major companies have to make an adjustment. And the adjustment that they made, they say, okay, all right, well, I'll let you have your own Bad Boy Records, and that'll be your record company. But then at the end of the day, you don't own the masters. You know what I'm saying? We'll give you the money.
You don't own shit then.
Excuse me?
I said, technically, you don't own shit then. You don't own your masters.
You own shit. And a lot of these guys, and most people don't understand how the music business really works. There's production deals, there's labels deals, and then there's just straight up ownership. And most people who do a deal with Atlantic or Interscope or somebody like that, 99.1% of the time, 99.1% of the time, they don't own their masters. They just own the name of that particular label. When you see the fine print up under there, whether it's, Atlantic or Warner Brothers, those are the individuals who own that, who owns the masters. And if you don't own the master, you don't own shit.
But don't you feel like at this point in day and age, because we've had several people on the show that have gone through the whole story of, I got fucked over. So don't you think now these artists in this day and age should have learned everything from OGs like you and, Dr. Dre, everybody that has paved the way? Don't you feel like everybody should own their own shit at this point?
Well, you're correct. But a lot of artists nowadays, it's just like it was before. The artists that do the research, the artists that are really in the business of music and have an understanding as to how the business works, you know, while they're in the business, they tend to last longer than the one who looks at a video and say, oh, I want to be like Jeezy, and I want to ride around in pretty cars, and I want to have the fly girls and all that. You know, when a guy like Jeezy really understands the business, that's why he has longevity. So you have a lot of the artists right now, you know, in the business, they're one-hit wonders. They don't have longevity because they're caught up in the flash and the glitz and the glamour, you know, the drugs, the girls, and all that. They don't even know basically how their record get promoted or how their record get marketed. So the ones who tend to last the longest are the ones who clearly understands the game.
Yeah.
You know, Dr. Dre understand the game. You know, those guys on Cash Money, they understand the business.
Jay Prince, he understands the game.
Jay Prince understands the business. Cube understands the business. Ice-T, all those guys, they understand the business.
Well, now that you understand the business, but back in the day, you know, because again, we've heard all these stories. Have you gotten screwed over?
Well, I got some masters stolen from me. Yes, I had, in my opinion, a crooked lawyer and a crooked accountant, and owning my own business. You have to, you know, when you're moving millions of records, you know, out of a warehouse in Miami, you know, unheard of, being the only hip hop label in the South, no other Southern hip hop label, and you're manufacturing this product out of 3 manufacturing plants located right down here, who traditionally would manufacture music for the Caribbeans, because, you know, major labels use the plants down here. You know, you gotta now, you gotta think, you gotta say, okay, I wanna be too smart. I wanna be smart enough to know that I gotta hire an accountant. I gotta hire a lawyer to make sure the contract's right. I gotta hire an accountant to make sure that I file my tax returns and I don't get jammed up like a lot of other people. So a lot of those people I was hiring, and then at the same time, I'm running the company, I'm just discovering new artists, and then I'm on tour with 2 Live Crew.
Yeah, you had your hands in a whole lot of different pots.
Yeah, so I got to go tour on the weekends, and I got to come back on the weekday and run the business. And I got over 30 employees locally and around the world. I probably had another 60 people. So to follow the money, you know, you have a tendency of trying to trust some people. So to a degree, yes, I got ripped off to a degree, but I was but I did. It wasn't similar to some of the other stories that you hear with artists, because I had control of it. I mean, I went chapter 11. I went chapter 11. I was slick. You know, they were trying to steal my catalog, so I went. But at the same time, back then we were sampling everybody's shit, you know, and we weren't getting no clearance. There wasn't no such thing as clearance.
Y'all was rogue. Y'all was doing that shit rogue style.
We was rogue. I mean, we had James Brown riding out down the street with him, killing Herman Kelly in life. I mean, shit, mass production. We got all that shit in there. We didn't hijack Full Metal Jacket, Me So Horny Girl. We out of control. We just but again, I'm in Miami. So in Miami, it's not as much music, just employees that you can hire. So, you know, I had to eventually, I'm getting sued from everywhere. And then I had these people trying to pull a fast one. So I ended up doing chapter 11 to get the reject.
Let me jump in and piggyback off something you said. You said you had some shady ass or a shady attorney, accountant, whatever. Let me tell you a story how this whole industry is 1 degree of separation. For those who don't know, when I first came in the industry, I was working at 2 labels back in the early mid-90s. One of them was Relativity Ruthless Records. The other one was an independent label.
Oh, Relativity. Yeah. I got stories on them.
No, we go get to that. I was working at another label. This gonna fuck you up right here, called Down Payment Records.
Yeah, I never heard of them.
Look, when I tell you that was Brother Marquise and Tump and another gentleman's label, at least every other day I heard a dude's name by the name of Joe fucking Weinberger. I was new into the biz. But I heard Marquise talking about this dude so much, I damn near thought I knew this motherfucker. And then when I did my research, I come to find out that he was one of them shade tree people per se that I guess not guess, but when you just mentioned shady people that took your shit, he was one of them. But when I was working with DJ Toomp and Brother Marquise back then in the mid '90s, I remember Marquise talking about that guy all the fucking time, and it just made me think about what you just said about that guy, because it was when you come across people like that I mean, because he slicked you out of, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you're publishing and everything, right?
Well, it was what he did was when I went chapter 11, which is reorganization versus chapter 7, when you chapter 7 is when you dead broke. But when I went chapter 11 to reorganize a large part, some of the masters he was able to purchase in chapter 11. So you were able to purchase certain things that I basically didn't want. And I'll give you a clear story, like you mentioned, Brother Marquise. 2 Live Crew, and I'll give you the story of Relativity and how we, how I ended up going chapter 11. It really wasn't him. It was more so a Relativity Records. It was a combination of the two. You had
was that Lil Joe record? Is that his label, Lil Joe?
No. I'm getting sued from, he didn't have a label at that time. I'm getting sued from everybody. Everybody's suing me for the samples. So at the same time, I got this group called H-Town.
Yep.
And H-Town is selling millions of records, right? And so I'm doing this deal with Relativity, Sal, and all those guys.
Al Carter, Alan Grunblatt, all those guys.
Al Carter, Alan Grunblatt. So
I work with those guys. I know all of them.
You know them. So I'm doing this deal, and I'm doing these lawsuits. I'm taking care of these lawsuits all at those two at the same time. So my lawyer, because I already knew this guy was shady, because at the time he was trying to negotiate a contract with me and 2 Live Crew, because we never had a contract. We were just on the hand.
Hold on. 2 Live Crew never had a contract with Luke Skywalker Records or amongst each other with the group?
Never had a contract. Never. It was all a handshake. We never had a contract. It was a handshake. We bust the money down, call it a day. We never had it. So, but then this guy, this is when the red flag came up. This guy working for me started saying, hey, these guys want a contract. And I'm looking at this motherfucker. I'm like, okay, knowing he was full of shit, I was like, okay, go ahead and whatever they want, just give it to me. And this guy had to wrote up a contract, not thinking that I'm not going to send it to another lawyer. Send it to the other lawyer. Man, it was like straight bullshit. So I was like, are you working for them or are you working for me? Which one? So then I kind of knew, and then I told the dudes, look, I still don't want a contract. Y'all can do what y'all want to do. But he was at the time trying to form his own label, which he did it with 2 Live Crew. And my thing is, going back to them, is I owned it, the name, but I controlled the name. And I always say majority rules. If 3 guys out of the 4 want to do something different, if y'all want to go to Lil Joe Records, that's fine. Y'all can go over there. Chris Wong, now you're the caretaker of the name. Exactly. You're the caretaker of the name. Y'all can go do what y'all want to do. So eventually it ended up signing up with him when he started his label after I kicked him out of my label. And so I'm going through this bankruptcy, and because with Relativity Records, this is where the bullshit came in at. I did a deal with them because I was selling too many records. It was just too big for me at the time. I got 2 Live Crew, I got H-Town, I got Poison Clan, I got all this shit I'm selling, and it just was too much to handle. So I'm thinking, trying to be smart, well, let me do a distribution deal with a company, hip-hop label. So I saw Easy and all them doing, that shit over there. And I'm like, okay, I need somebody that's cutting edge, that understand what we're doing, because everybody don't fuck with explicit lyrics like that. So I end up doing a deal with them. But what ended up happening, this dude Weinberger was looking at the contract. He was still in there, and my other lawyer was saying, don't sign the contract. There's still things need to be taken off. I was on the way to Canada, and he was like, no. Paul, which is my other lawyer, Schindler, Grubman, Dursky, and Schindler, he was like, don't sign that shit. And it was the barcode. To make a long story short, he wanted to change out any new product that we sold to separate what was returns from me and what was returns from them. We need to have separate barcodes. So they never changed that. So it ended up having the same barcode, and they were trying to pull a fast one, saying we were getting returns, and they were taking the returns from somewhere else. It was a whole mess. So that's basically.
So the demise of Two Live Crew and Two Live Crew breaking up was because of the attorney / accountant wanting to get some paperwork done, and they bounced with him instead of riding with you. Is that?
Yeah, they were already. He was already working on them. Everybody wanted somebody. So when I was doing the deal with Relativity wanted
Skywalker, nigga, you started the label. You got the juice. Why wouldn't niggas go with you?
Hey, that was the thing. So here we go. So I go chapter 11. I'm in bankruptcy, right? Chapter 11, reorganizing. Everybody they say, okay. So in chapter 11, all I was doing was rejecting contracts. You know, I told them girls at TLC, they were like, we ain't getting paid. And I was like, go chapter 11. Because what you could do in chapter 11, I said, what you could do is you can reject your contract. That's the gangster shit. What most motherfuckers don't know. So you can get out of the contract all day.
You were promoting people to go chapter 11?
Hell yeah, I told a whole bunch of motherfuckers to go chapter 11. I'm like, this is how you get out the contract, right? So I ended up rejecting. I rejected my contract, but then in chapter 11, everybody else is now free. So, you know, niggas can say, hey man, shit, now I'm fucking with Like for instance, Trick Daddy was on my label at the time. I had
early on.
Yeah, I didn't do no paperwork with him. So it became, then I had Pitbull. I had signed Pitbull up. So them motherfuckers was like, man, fuck that shit. We with you, huh? And those dudes, H-Town, was being courted by Sal Licata.
Yep, and they wound up coming over there to Relativity. I remember, because I worked with.
Yeah, he offered them $1 million or some shit like that. And so you had them, they flew the coop. And so it was, for me, people were like, man, how's this chapter 11? I said, how do you spell relief? I said, it's like fucking rolling.
Hey, why would you keep doing these
niggas?
Hey, Luke, why would you keep doing these handshake agreements with these niggas, man?
No, I had a contract with H-Town.
But you just mentioned Poison Clan.
Poison Clan, we had a contract with them.
Okay, so, all right, so after that original handshake agreement with Two Live Crew, you said, fuck that. Let me go ahead and type my business up.
Yeah, everybody, yeah.
Okay.
Everybody had a contract. It was just them because we started out together.
So if you were starting to get hip to the game and you were filing, you know, the chapter 11 and all this going on with H-Town, so why was it that word on the street that you were doing bad business deals?
That was all bullshit. Because one thing about it, in every one of my contracts, I mean, that's the customary thing to say, that the record label ain't paying you. But yet still you riding good, you got a big ass house, you got a pretty car, you flying in girls every week, you got your cocaine habits, all that shit costs money. So the customary thing to say, hey, look, the label ain't paying. So in my case, I didn't have too many people that said, oh, he wasn't paying, because them motherfuckers know they all got paid and I kept all the checks. I actually made a room in my building, in my office building, with every check, every canceled check, not canceled, but after you do the check, they give you the check back. I had a room with all the checks, with all the motherfuckers I paid. So when they said, hey man, this dude ain't pay me, no, motherfucker, here are your checks right here. Every check, it was a whole room of checks. So I, you know,
hey, Luke, it's so interesting because I was telling Jamie, see, that's why you got to watch in this industry who you listen to and what, because in no way, shape, or form am I dissing artists, but I remember working with H-Town and us being on the road, and boy, it was like you was damn Lucifer Jr. the way, that motherfucker, he played us. But there's always three sides to every story, and you just said, you just made some great points as far as people really being taken care of. Because I remember they went on this whole, and I know you remember, they went on this whole smear Luther Campbell, Uncle Luke campaign, man. And me working for Relativity, I'm just being real. I was like, oh shit, damn, that motherfucker, hey, that motherfucker Luke fucked up, man.
Yeah. But let me tell you, I give you a perfect example of. I give you the H-Town story. So I go to Houston. I not find him. Lorenzo White, who played for the Houston Oilers.
Yeah, from Miami.
He tells me about this group of guys. I go in the hood, and I hear him. They made me miss my plane to hear him. They're living in the projects, right? We all come from the projects. They're living in there. I go to their house, and I look in the house. I mean, they're standing outside. Their name was the Jits. And they start singing outside. I was like, okay, that's a fucked up name. And then I'm like, I hear artists all day.
Yeah.
It's like, when you in this business, you get 1,000 demos. Everybody got a fucking artist. Everybody is the shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's a hit. It's like, damn near you can catch the lottery before you can be a hit artist or hit group. Somebody got to take a chance. So these guys, I mean, it was just like, overnight, I go to the house and I'm like, these kids are living fucked up. They're living bad, if anything. So my first initial thing was, okay, sing. Okay, you can sing a little bit. They were all right, good. You got, your brothers sound okay. Y'all nice looking guys. Okay, I can figure out something. But I'm gonna change this fucking name. I don't like the name. I'm gonna call y'all H-Town because that's what Houston is. So I gave them the name H-Town, made them cool. And then the first thing I did was I said, y'all kids shouldn't be living like this. And I bought two of them a house. Two of them lived in
the fucking house. Twins and the dark skinned brother. I forgot his name.
Yeah, G.I. So I'm like, no, fuck this. And I mean, the music business, it's a hit or miss business. And that was, again, that was no paperwork, no contract, no nothing. And my other accountants was like, what the fuck?
Hold on. You brought them niggas a house?
With no just because it was more of a, I was like, I might not make a dime off these dudes, but it was more of some philanthropical shit.
Black man to black man. Like, I want to see these brothers be better.
Yeah, it was more of, I don't give a fuck if I ever see them again. Yeah, I just want them to be living better than what they're living like. I mean, they got little sisters running around the house, the mom trying to do this, and I do shit like that right now to this day. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So with them dudes, then they end up, flew them down. They had one bag, they had shoes with holes in the shoes. And now just keep in mind, all this is going on. They went crazy in less than 365 days.
Somebody fucking knocking your boots when that motherfucker hit. Shit.
Yeah. So keep in mind.
The boots hit, Jamie. When that knocking the boots hit, they was out of here.
Exactly.
Out of here.
So I signed these guys up, put a record out in 3 months. The record become the hottest shit in the world.
Yes, it was.
So now you got another 3 months of them touring. They never even made it to a statement. And they were already getting fucked over. So they never even did 1 year with Luke Records. And they were getting fucked over. You normally have to do, we put this album out and we're on our second album. He fucked us over. He stole our money. He do this. Everybody was fucking them over. The manager that leave it to them. The manager, Pat was screwing them over. And Pat looking like, damn, I just helped you niggas. And then you had the producer, Stick full of shit too. So everybody was full of shit when it came to H-Town. And this was less than a year.
What this reminds me of, Luke? Modern day Jamie, you know what this remind me of? When I heard about this whole Megan Thee Stallion shit, how, I mean, in a few ways, it just reminded me, because I was like, okay, a lot, artists don't realize what goes, this shit is an investment, man. It can go or it could flop.
And 99.1% of the time, it don't go.
You damn right. And who takes that L?
The record company.
Shit.
And so, right. Again, I sit there and I say, all that. You got 2 Live Crew, you got this, you got that. I got Pitbull here, I got Trick Daddy right here. You know, with Pitbull and Trick Daddy, those, cause I'm like, man, I don't give a fuck about no groups. I make groups. Groups don't make me. I don't have enough money to go sign Jay-Z.
I like that.
You feel me? I don't have enough money to go sign Missy. I don't have at that time. I ain't had enough money to go get to sign a big artist that was selling millions of records. So I had to go find motherfuckers and make them, market them, produce them, and all that. Create the image around them. So it just really it got, huh?
So what was it that happened with Trick? Because he came to you first, right?
Trick caught me at a time. Let me tell you, that was during the time of the Chapter 11, right? So I wouldn't sign him, because if I signed him, he would be property of the estate.
Yeah.
So Trick would end up on either relativity or.
You got to be tricky with that.
Yeah, I got tricky with that. I never signed myself. That's why me and Trick did the song Scarred together. I signed the deal in Chapter 11 with Island Records. So motherfuckers ain't know I'm being slicker than a motherfucker. So they thinking they robbing me. I'm robbing they motherfucking ass.
You slicker than fish pussy.
Oh shit, no, the motherfucker. Hey, I'm in Chapter 11 making hit records, and my whole thing was, it's like I'm looking at this shit saying, I find these niggas. These niggas don't find me. I make them. I create, market, and produce them. But it wore down on me, to be honest with you, because I don't mistreat my artists. I treat them like my kids.
Yeah.
I pay them well.
Well, that had to hurt for you to hear some of the shit that was being said.
Yeah, I just do so much. You know, I pride myself on not being like the traditional record company guy where they treat those guys like a catalog number. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, this is a new nigga, you another number. So I put, you know, Russell Simmons always told me, he told me a long time ago when I first got in the business, he was like, don't fall in love with no artist. Don't fall in love with no act. He said, because they're gonna fuck you over regardless. I mean, they don't care who it is. They're gonna shit on you. They're gonna always, you ain't never gonna do enough. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, nah. So it all wore on me, and I really just got tired of it. I got tired of it, and that's why, you know, I told Trick and I told Pitt, you know, like my homeboy Teach, you know, he was Jeff Sanchez. They were all working for me. He worked for the NBA right now, and I was like, hey man, y'all take Pitt. You know what I'm saying? Hey Pitt, go. You gonna be all right. We try to shop around for something for him. Trick, hey man, you gonna be all right. You know, we're gonna do this song here, and I did a song to blow them up, to get their name out there. And I was just burnt out because
I'm sure that had to wear.
If it was all about fucking people over, I would have still been putting records out right now today with the intentions of fucking people over. I can't do it.
So there's so much history here with you, and I know like an hour goes by so fast. So I want to jump in real quick and just touch on the whole Supreme Court. I mean, you changed the game. Like, what was that like to like make that decision? Because you could have lost it all when you went to Supreme Court, but you won.
Well, I mean, what people don't realize about going to the Supreme Court and during those times, that's when I kind of knew 2 Live Crew, we were separating right then, because I was the only one. It's almost like if all 3 of us in this shit together, we gonna go to court together every day. We're gonna go see the lawyer every day together. We're gonna fight this battle. And everybody wasn't trying to fight the battle. It became me fighting the battle because I was fitting the bill. Again, we got this handshake. Ain't no motherfucker saying, hey man, he'll go a couple dollars to the attorney fees or for some of the things like that. That shit costs money. So it was me basically footing the bill. I didn't have, once they deemed the record obscene, I foot the bill. That was almost a $500,000 case. Once they deemed it obscene, I could have left the shit right there. It wasn't a thing of me going to jail or anything like that. It was more of, you know, hey, look, you know, what's precedent? And so when they said the album was obscene, took it off the shelf. I was selling more records than anything, because now I got this obscene record. I said, no, fuck that. If I leave this as case law, then the precedent will be set that any other rap artist come behind me can't use expensive lyrics on a record. So it wasn't about, it became bigger than just Two Live Crew. It wasn't about Two Live Crew. Now it became about hip hop. So when Lil Wayne put his album out talking about fuck the police, you know, whatever it may be, then Lil Wayne album, because you have case law, then any municipality could take that case law and say, based on this case law or this federal judge and this opinion right here, then this record is obscene, and they would actually lose, and they couldn't, you know, you wouldn't have explicit lyrics on any other hip hop record or album to this day.
You changed the whole scope, and you put your livelihood, you put your career, you put everything on the line. Did any of these artists, like, especially during those times that had the lyrics like the Too Shorts, the NWA, the Ice-T, did they ever just come to you and say, you know what, Luke, I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Well, I mean, you know, NWA was going, I mean, me and Q, we always been cool, and we've always had dialogue about what we were going through, because, you know, we were going through it first, and we was getting it heavier because we weren't on a major label. We would have these conversations about it, you know, but for the most part, not too many came and say, hey, man, I appreciate it, thank you, and all that.
You sacrificed, like I said, you sacrificed a whole lot, man, for this whole industry to be able to thrive.
I mean, it changed the game. It changed the whole, like, if you would have lost that case, like, we might not have been where we are with hip hop today.
Yeah, no, would have been. I mean, between the Supreme Court case, the Supreme Court case was a parody case. You would not have Saturday Night Live. You wouldn't have comedians being able to do satire. And then the other case was when the record was deemed obscene. Then I got that overturned. So two things were happening at the same time. Again, now you got this. I'm owning this record company. I'm marketing, producing, putting these albums out. I'm going through all these trials. I'm going to jail. I'm touring, and then I got motherfuckers in the back door trying to steal shit.
Did you say tutoring?
Touring.
Oh, tutoring. I was like, what were you tutoring?
Hey,
I tutored. Yeah, I tutored too.
What'd you tutor?
How to twerk.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
Hey, shit. Look, you still tutoring women on how to twerk, nigga? God dog, Luke. Shit.
But that's a clean. I say twerk. That's a clean version.
Well, look,
it's really popping that pussy.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I definitely wanted to know what it was like going from hoes to marriage. Okay, because you had all the chicks, all the hoes, and then all of a sudden you pop up and get married. It's like,
pop up.
Well, in my former life, before
there you go. Hey, there you go. Say it again. Your past, man. Your past life.
In my former life, you know, I sold a little drugs, and rule number one was don't get high on your own supply. So the girls in the videos, I never got high on my own supply. So I mean, I really, to be honest with you, all those girls were my friends, and I wasn't really attracted to those type of girls. If you know the type of girls I'm attracted to, are skinny girls, not little curve, not no fat ass, not no big titties, none of that, nothing that you see in the video.
You was doing
and
that.
You gotta be smart, I can't have a conversation with a bimbo. We gotta be able to have a fucking conversation.
But I mean, like, so you do have like 6 kids, right? So you have like 7, right?
6.
6.
I lost count.
Hey, she put another one on you. Shit.
I know, right?
Lost count, then. I mean, so you weren't banging your hoes, your video girls, but you was out still doing your mess.
Yeah. Listen, I had my son right now. Everybody else, I should have been using condoms. My daughter, I was dating my daughter who lives in Orlando. Me and her mother was dating each other. That was my girl. I mean, we kind of started the whole company together. Me and her were together, but everybody else, They said they were taking birth controls, but they wasn't. And I was trusting them because I came from a family where my mom always say, you know, people's word is their bond. And so I just trusted too many women that they were taking birth controls. But I take full responsibility because I should have scrapped up.
So do you have a relationship with all your kids?
Not really. Which is a sad thing because I saw a basketball player was on with Jamel Hill doing a live feed, and it seemed like I was listening to myself, which most celebrities or entertainers are in the same thing, and people have money, you know, and you get these kids from these, in my opinion, women who are just straight out for a check, you know, because they're not with you, then they then put that on the kids, you know, and that's why I have a great relationship with my daughter in Orlando, because it wasn't about a check. Me and her mom was in the grind together. I ain't had shit. You feel me? And so it wasn't about, me and her both ain't had nothing. So that's why I have a better relationship with her, and her mom always made sure she had a relationship with me. The other kids, not necessarily a relationship, because, you know, the moms, you know, always pit the kids against me, and
They were
which
happy.
is a sad thing. Yes, it's a sad thing. I mean, they were getting their checks. You should be happy when you're getting your checks. Let the kids come over, have a dad in their life, but that wasn't the case.
I'm gonna jump back to a minute to the case you mentioned when you had to the big case, the freedom of speech case, and it's so interesting on how life works. Is that your attorney, Alina Kagan, is now a Supreme Court justice? Ain't that some? What's y'all relationship like now? Y'all still cool? I mean, cause that's the highest. It don't get no higher than that. And
listen,
in a way, Luke, you helped spearhead her to that spot. I mean, I'm sure she gives you up.
She did her work.
Yeah, I'm not taking nothing away from Justice Kagan, but your case put her on the map, and now she's Supreme Court justice. Do you just pick up the phone and call her sometime and say, "Hey, what's happening?"
I know, right? I need to go down there and holler at her. No, but I mean, she worked real close. She worked real close with my lawyer, Bruce Rogo. We call him Professor Rogo. She worked close with him, and they all did their thing together. So he was the main guy behind the whole thing, and she, you know, filed briefs and did her work within it.
Okay. Good deal. So y'all still solid then.
Yeah.
Okay. Who was that? And I thought about this. I was driving today, because everybody that comes on the show that's been a label owner, I ask them, who's been that one artist, whether out of Miami or elsewhere, that you had the chance to sign that you missed out on?
I had a chance to sign.
Who came like OG? What's up, man? Let's do something.
I tried to sign Too Short. I went to fucking Oakland. I was like, I gotta get this nigga here. I tried to sign Master P, but he was selling too many records out of his trunk. Both of them boys was selling them out the trunk. I do remember Sir Mix-a-Lot sending a demo tape, and I did not like it, and I missed out on that. I do want to think I remember Mix-a-Lot sending a tape, and I fucked up because I just, you know, I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it.
And sometimes, and I tell people all the time, for me being a promo guy in this game, I don't, you know, I miss some too. You know, we not shooting 1,000% from the free throw line.
Nah. You're definitely not doing that. You're definitely not doing that.
Yeah, you know, sometimes, you know, there's things, and I tend to think I got a great ear, as I'm sure you do too. Sometimes we miss it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you know, I think for me, I'm a little bit weird. I don't listen to too many demos. It's more of me going to see an artist, and if I have certain things that I like about them, but then I haze the shit out of them. to see if they really want to be in the business. That's why Pitt will tell you in a minute, he came from the Luke School of Hard Knocks. Because I just don't disrespect the business.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to be a part of no artist that want to disrespect the business or pimp the business. So I'll have an artist with me for a year or 6 months before I even take them in the studio, because I want to know if you got that work in you. So it's a little, so it becomes weird like that for me.
Over the years, hold on, Jen. I know you want to jump in. It was in my mind. Over the years, Luke, certain cities we had to go to, we had to, quote unquote, check in. Was you that nigga in Miami, man? I mean, word on the street. Let me rephrase this question. Word on the street was when you came to Miami, you had to check in with Luke.
Oh yeah, you had to check in. I was having a conversation with my nephew, who's trying to be in the music business yesterday, actually, because when you get into this Corona shit and they put you in a house, lock you up like you're in a cage, you go to think about all kind of shit. And I was telling him, I was like, y'all fucking the game up in Miami. This shit's all fucked up. Y'all letting all these nobody checking in. So I mean, when I'm like, nigga, when I was really running this shit, you had to check in. And if you ain't checked in, goddamn it, you couldn't do nothing. You couldn't shoot a video.
And you might have got robbed.
You got robbed. Oh yeah, you definitely got robbed. You ain't check in, your ass got robbed. Motherfuckers got you.
Hey, and like you just said, what you told your nephew, not to sound old, Luke, but this industry, it got a little soft.
Yeah. It's different kind of people in it now.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Jamie. I know you want to jump in and say something. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was going to actually ask, because we were talking about other artists, what's one piece of advice that you would give to some of these younger artists now coming up in the game?
I always tell them to educate yourself on the game. You know what I'm saying? Understand that selling a record is really a stepping stone as to where you're trying to go at in life. Because it's only a few of us that right now could go and do a concert and sell out a building. Ain't too many of us. Ain't too many of us could go sell out a club, unfortunately, and just understand the business. And at the same time, perform for the people, because when you perform, that I always wanted to be like the OJs. I looked at them, I was like, these motherfuckers performing their ass off. Not too much production, just flat out performing.
Great performance.
And that's how their longevity lasts. And I always tell them, look, man, put a lot of work in your show. Put a lot of work into understanding the business, publishing, and how the business work, how records are being sold and how they're being marketed.
Cool. So I wanted to have real quick, I just want to have a little fun. Because of course we were talking about Corona and everything, and unfortunately we're in the situation that we're in. So I just wanted to play a quick little game real quick. If you had to be stuck in quarantine, the first person, when I give you a name, tell me who it is. So between Trick Daddy and Rick Ross, who would you want to be in quarantine with?
Shit, I already was in quarantine with Trick Daddy.
Okay.
Because he cooks. I know how to cook.
Okay. So Trina or City Girls?
I've never met the City Girl. So definitely Trina. That's like my little sister.
Okay. And what about Pitbull or Flo Rida?
Definitely Pitbull.
Okay.
I love Flo. Flo's my guy, but Pitt is my guy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hey man, I was at Jack the Rapper. You know where I'm going with this. For me to even say Jack the Rapper, that tell you how dated I am, Luke. I was at Jack the Rapper early on when I was just getting in the music industry. And when I tell you, I had my uncle was there, my mentor. He was deep in the music industry, and my little cousin that was there. And when I tell you, boy, y'all niggas and them damn West Coast niggas damn near tore that damn hotel down, man. And when I said, you know, I can read different stuff and all that, but I always wanted to ask you what, you know, with the diss records between y'all, with you and Death Row, what brought that whole beef on? What was the onset of the old Death Row Luke records? Where did that beef start?
Well, I mean, they did a record. Snoop and Dre them did a record. Dre Day. Then we ended up doing a record. We did a record, and me, JT Money, and who was it?
I remember.
Trick Daddy. Was it Trick Daddy? Yeah.
So hold on. They just did a record out the blue to diss y'all, and like nothing happened. It wasn't just out the blue.
I'm trying to remember. They did a record. Yeah, they did a record out of the blue because I think I said something on an interview, and so then here comes this record, and then we came and did our record, our answer to it, and then at the time, that's when Suge was allegedly punking all the executives in the music business, slapping people up and all these different stories and shit like that. And so, I know I probably said something in the interview where I was like, shit, dude ain't gonna do that to me.
Yeah.
It ain't that kind of party. So then that's when that all came about. And then we ended up going to Jack the Rapper. I told them, look, it's gonna be a problem. I told Jack the Rapper and his daughter, Jill, I said, it's gonna be a problem. You sure y'all don't wanna have a sit down with these dudes? And they were like,
right.
We don't know what the fuck you talking about. And so I was like, really? Okay. And so they eventually had the thing, and those guys came and we came and it was
that shit was damn near riot up in that shit.
Yeah, it was all out war. I mean, it was like, hold on, because it was more. No, you got the wrong guy. No, ain't no punks down there in Miami.
Yeah. What finally brought that shit in? What brought it to a ceasefire?
Well, we had a conversation. You
and Suge?
Yeah. Me and Suge had a conversation. We had to sit down, and we worked it out. They came down for the Super Bowl, and I still got a picture of Snoop Dogg in my suite at the game, and we sat down in the room and shit. We didn't even look at the game, man. We really just chopped it up and just
on some real grown man, some black unity type shit.
Yeah, on some real black man shit. It's so funny right now today. There's so many guys that was trying to get in the room to sit down because I got a lot of friends in New York, tough guy friends back then that, notorious guys. So it was a few of them in the room. It was more like a whole bunch of from New York, Philly, Miami, all them niggas was in there with me. And so it was like some real
street niggas.
Yeah, it was some real, because that's where I came from. You feel me? So I was just trying to get out of that. I was trying to get out of that life. But then that thing kind of drawed me back in there. But then all them dudes, we all chopped it up, and at the end of the day, we just squashed it.
You was doing. I was talking to somebody recently when I told him I was interviewing. I said this dude Luke was doing mainstream interviews with like Arsenio Hall and Phil Donahue. Like you was bringing Me So Horny and that shit to the mainstream masses, folks in Middle America.
Making noise.
Did the government, did the feds ever send you a couple like, hey man, you need to chill out, pimping?
No, not necessarily. I was on enough police lists. I was definitely on enough. Every time I would go into a city, then the police you meet me at the airport and say what I wasn't gonna do and what I was gonna do, and I was like, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do.
But you did it anyway.
Yeah, I did it anyway. I just couldn't. I didn't have time to sleep with any local girls, but I just escaped.
Hey. Transitioning from the music, let's transition before we get out of here in the next few minutes. Politics. Man, you ran for mayor. And me and Killer Mike just had this talk the other night. He's going to be mayor of Atlanta one day. it just is what it is. He's that dude. Killer's a bright dude. He's very well versed. He just got a lot of range. What do you think about, the rappers now getting very active politically, from the T.I.s, like I say, Killer, Bun B, Scarface running for office? What you think about the whole transition of the rappers getting involved heavily into politics?
I think it's a good thing. I told these guys that long time ago when we were getting people to vote, and then MTV hijacked it and called it Rap the Vote. We had originally started that with our group, and when we were trying to unionize as hip hop artists, and I was, I always told guys, I was like, we got to be involved in politics, because the politics is what's trying to fuck the game up. I mean, everything that was happening to me was brought on by, Al Gore and Tipper Gore, his wife, while Joe Biden and all them sitting on their ass, and Bill Clinton deregulating radio, to giving us the fuck up the business. And so, I always told these dudes, look, man, y'all, we ought to be politically involved, and there at some point we're gonna have to start running for office, because when I say I rep my city, what's the difference between a state rep, a federal rep, a senator rep? He's representing he's representing his state, he's representing his district. And so if I rep Florida and if I rep Miami, then in all actuality, I'm a political leader of my community, because that's the city I rep. And so I always look at it like, we say we rep this city, I rep my city, I rep Houston, I rep this. And I always looked at it from the standpoint of, and I told Killer Mike this, and I try to tell a few guys, but I don't know if they kind of understanding where I'm coming from. I'm like, yo, we already have a political party. The hip hop party is a political party. We have representatives of every area. And so why not just say that this is a hip hop party and separate ourselves from the Democratic Party and the Republican Party and be involved in politics where we rep our people, because hip hop is
we got the money, we got the fundraising right there, but
and we got the numbers, and we got the numbers everybody wants. You feel me? We have the numbers that everybody wants. So if you really rep, if I'm from New Orleans and I really rep New Orleans, right? If I really rep New Orleans, how better can I do for New Orleans if I'm the representative of there, bringing millions and millions of dollars into the neighborhood, because I'm a political leader
in one of those wards or one of those parishes.
Exactly.
The ballot, the book, and the buck.
Exactly.
I know Jamie might have for y'all. I got one more question before we get up out of here.
Are we gonna do a little Q&A or the?
We'll see in a minute. But
I'm gonna move inside because it's getting dark out here.
Well, does it sound like you got some work going on out there? Something you got niggas building a whole nother outside house or something? What Luke? What's that one thing as you sitting around thinking that you would do different from a business standpoint from when you first came in the game?
The one thing I do different.
From over to you.
The one thing I would do different, I think it'd be more of I don't think I do nothing different. I mean, to be honest with you, because when you look at it, everything we do, everything is trial and error anyway. I don't think
and you're right about that, from raising kids to living life.
Yeah, I don't think I do nothing different, because it's
even fucking with like the wine burgers and them motherfuckers that play. Because is there a time where you get your publishing back? Like, how does that work?
I mean, yeah. After 25 years, you get everything back.
He don't need. He don't.
25 years.
He don't put all the records behind it.
Okay, so you will get your publishing back soon.
Yeah. From those records, I mean, all the other stuff I did after that, I own all that stuff.
Okay.
I mean, that's the 2 Live Crew shit. You know what I'm saying? So, most of that stuff, I did like tons of records after that.
Yeah.
That was big hit records.
Yeah. Well, I want you to, before we go, I want you to talk about, because you got a lot of shit going on. And I know you've addressed it since we've been on here. But shit, you on our podcast. You got a podcast. What's up with your? I mean, shit, nigga. I need to come on your shit or whatever. I need to tell everybody that's tuned in now, all around wherever they are.
Podcast. You got
tune into your shit.
All that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, my wife for years was telling me to do a podcast. She was like, "You got to do a podcast." I mean, early on, I never really did it because I ain't had too much time. But then I kind of dipped and dabbed with it. I interviewed Jalen Rose, Jaden Howard, and I interviewed quite a few other people. And then I just started liking it because, I think it's a good way to communicate with people and have just a conversation like we having right now.
Nigga, what's the name of it? You ain't say the name.
It's the Luke Show. It's the Luke Show.
Yeah. Hey, what can niggas go watch this shit?
Everything
hey,
is
Jamie, he just started talking. Nigga, what can niggas watch? I gave you, I handed it off to you, dog.
Yeah. You gave me the opening. Like, nigga,
I did the fucking hey, I threw the bounce pass to you. Damn.
Where can we tune into to listen to this podcast?
It's on Podbean. You can get it up. You can, on iPhone. You can pull it up on iTunes. Everything.
Hey, Luke, you said, hey, I thought, boy, that motherfucker said, so it's the Luke Show. Is on all platforms, all that, right?
On all platforms, everywhere.
Hey, do you ever see any of them? You ever see any of them old women, man, from the album covers? You ever bump into?
I know.
You ever bump into any of them? I
know. I see a couple of them. A couple of them I still keep in contact with.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, they're my girls. Them. We those are my girls. We like.
Oh, that's right. You never slept.
Yeah, when you don't have
cool.
Listen, when you don't have sex with people, you don't
it's
have
a whole different.
Hey, sex changes the game.
Sex, and I try to tell people, whatever you do, I mean, if you got good friendship and relationship with people, do not have sex with them. And that's what I do. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I
definitely wholeheartedly have to agree with that.
Yeah, sex fucks up friendship.
It fucks up a lot of shit.
Yeah.
In any relationship with like the brother Marquise is, I know Chris Wong, may he rest in peace. Mr. Mix, he's still alive, correct?
Yeah, Mix is still alive. Mix is he's the one live crew. He's the only one performing as two live crew.
Damn.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But you still performing though.
Yeah, I left the group over 25 years.
I know that. How long you gonna keep performing, man?
I love performing. Let me tell you, I love performing. I love going out there and putting on a show. It's like it's therapeutic. Yeah. But then it's more about the people for me. I go out there and I perform, and I look at it like if I can make people happy and make people dance and party, you having a hard time, you spend, you're going through life, you got problems. If I could take 1 hour and just entertain people for that hour where they can forget about their problems, the kids at home, the bullshit man, the bullshit woman, if I could just make you lose your mind, just,
nigga, you created a whole soundtrack for my high school years, nigga. Shit, between Poison Clan, Two Live Crew, shit. And what people don't know, and I want to thank you, is that as much as Atlanta is the driving force behind this music industry right now and the whole culture, you contributed to it by helping put Atlanta on the map. People don't know that MC Shy D, you came and you put him, and he was on Luke Skywalker Records.
Yeah. This little guy from
MC Shy D was on Luke Skywalker Records, so you had a hand in putting Atlanta on the map.
Yeah, people don't realize that. I mean, again, hopefully when the movie comes out, you'll hear all this.
Oh, you're making a movie?
Yeah, I did a deal with Lionsgate to do a movie. So,
nigga, you gotta plug this shit, nigga.
I just be doing too much shit.
Hey, you gotta talk about it.
It's the life of Luke Skywalker.
It's
can't use that name Skywalker no more.
I know. And
can't use that Skywalker.
I wore my
That's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast.
I wore my Princess Leia buns. I thought it would be apropos because Skywalker, but
it looks nice.
Hey, that'll be part 2 when you come to Atlanta and we go to the gathering spot and we have another live studio audience.
We come up out of this lockdown.
We get up out this shit. You come to the A. we go sit down, we go address, because there's so much other shit, man. We didn't even, like I say, address a lot of the stuff. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody out here that's watching is that we talk about Atlanta and the scene. And, you know, like I said.
Did you see, you're originally from Atlanta?
I've been here for years.
You
Yeah.
saw I was looking at a documentary on the kids dying.
Oh, HBO.
Oh,
I wasn't living here then, but the Atlanta murder.
That was deep. I remember the stories, but that was deep. You know, the transformation of the city, you know, and how it transformed. Because I always thought Atlanta was just straight black. I never knew Atlanta was, you know, had an all-white police department. So I learned a lot.
One thing about
I'm in Atlanta a lot, so I love the city.
That's like on the top, coming up on my watch list. I haven't gotten to it yet. But.
Yeah, one thing about Atlanta, Luke, and you can appreciate this from your community activism and your political involvement, is that we've had black leadership in this city since 1971, and we've thrived under black leadership. So that's one thing I can say that I'm proud of about this city, is that we've had black leadership. And you know, this city, you know, like I say, I'll say it again. I'm proud to see the way we move and maneuver. We're not perfect by no means, but this city right here, I mean, just like the Gathering Spot, who's hosting this. Like I said, when you come back, I told Teresa, when you come back, we're gonna go up to the Gathering Spot so you can see, and they're expanding.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's an amazing spot.
I want to thank them again. Luke, give everybody your social media handles before we get out of here.
You can find me on Uncle Luke Real One. That's Twitter. That's #1. And the same thing on Instagram, Uncle Luke Real One. And then it's Uncle Luke, my Facebook fan page. You can find me.
Okay. Miss Jamie Page, give everybody your I know they can see it.
Yes. Miss Jamie Page is on all platforms. MSJAIMEEPAIGE.
Yes. And mine, of course, is I am Big Jerry Clark, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. Everybody, please be safe out there and cover up, Lysol up, wear your mask, wear your gloves. Before we sign off, Luke, I always like to tell everybody, let everybody know that every episode of Storytime with Legendary Jerry is dedicated to 3 people. My uncle, Mr. Stanley Bethel, who I mentioned early on in the show, my mentor. My dad, who passed back in 2016, Thomas Clark. I love him. May he rest in peace. And Mr. Shakir Stewart. Those 3 individuals, I appreciate them. I love them. Thank you to the Gathering Spot for hosting this. I'll say it again. If you're not a member, of those around the country, around the world watching, if you're in D.C., L.A., or Atlanta, please become a member. Luke, my brother, we appreciate you. We're going to have to do part 2 when you come to the A, man. Yes, so much shit we didn't cover.
No problem. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. So we go sign off. Any last things you want to say before we go? If not, we go get ready to sign off. Make sure y'all check out Uncle Luke. It's called The Luke Show on all podcast networks. You said Podbean, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud. Am I getting it right, Luke? You're on everything.
Yeah,
right?
I'm on all of it. Yeah.
Okay. So
but yeah, I mean, you know, I just want people to be out there, be safe. I mean, you know, just like you say, cover up, you know, stay home, ride this shit out. Don't get caught up in all these different conspiracy theories, because people are really dying. You know, I know a few of my friends, you know, one of them passed away, and a couple other ones are in the hospital fighting it, you know. So I mean, just be careful what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Yeah,
and,
right. That's all we can do at this point. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay. But once again, I'm Big Jerry Clark, Miss Jamie Page, Uncle Luke. We signing off. Thanks for everybody tuning in around the world. We appreciate you, brother. We'll see you in Atlanta, Luke.
Thank you.
All right.
Peace.